spend a few minutes with this wonderful, beautiful face that you're looking at right here. That's my wife, by the way. Why do you look like that? Why do you look all surprised?
I didn't know what your introduction was going to be for this video. Okay, getting on point here. We recorded a video about alcohol, drugs, and tobacco. And after we recorded it, I had this thought that came to me. And going back to my Catholic upbringing, we were taught that Jesus went to a wedding with his mom, and at that wedding they ran out of wine. So what did his mother do? She said, "Jesus, will you please make some wine?" And he did. He turned a bunch of water into wine so the people could drink the wine. Wine to me is a type of alcohol. That's why this is coming up. And then at the Last Supper, there was Jesus again with all his drinking buddies, and they all had wine and bread and were sharing it. So I want to know how, if it did at all affect Jesus, or if he was really even drinking the alcohol. So that's why this video is here, so we can ask these questions of my husband, which I just did, and listen to him answer.
You're a troublemaker, aren't you? It's Jesus. Jesus doesn't get drunk. That's what I have to say about that. I'm done with that question. I'm not even dealing with that.
But why is it, it's looked down upon? There are negative things attached to the whole alcohol, and wine is a type of alcohol. So what happened there?
Well, first of all, do people see, how do people see alcohol? I mean, wine.
It's a type of alcohol. Uh-huh. I mean, you go to the liquor store, it's there in its own section. You've got wines, then you have the hard liquors, then you have the beers and spritzers and everything else.
No, as far as, how you say, the hard liquor and the beers and all that, where does it, I guess I should be using the term alcohol content. This is just from my, this is just from my knowledge. As far as wine goes,
have different alcohol content.
Wines go. Oh, so they could be as strong as a beer in content?
I think they could be stronger than beer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know if they can get as strong as some of the hard liquor.
Like a rum? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay. See, I didn't know that.
I've accidentally made some stuff like that.
Wine?
Remember the ginger experiment? Anyway, that's a story for another day. Getting back on topic here, though.
Right. Anyway, well, so your question is?
My question is, why did it affect Jesus, or is it because he was the only Son of God, as I was taught as a Catholic, that's the reason why he was not affected by this alcohol, by the wine?
Okay.
And why would he make it for a whole bunch of people if it's something that's considered not to be beneficial from a spiritual standpoint? Because of the entities that it's a low vibration and entities attached with it too.
Well, if we go with that question first, why would he make it? God gave us free will, right?
Right.
So it's not in Jesus' place to make a decision for other people as to what they should drink.
Oh, good point.
Right? Just because it's been taught, the teachings teach it, that alcohol lowers your vibration. What will Jesus do? Go in there and say, stop drinking alcohol. You shouldn't be doing that. It's not good for you. He's actually, if he were to do that, then he's infringing on somebody's free will.
Okay, well that makes sense.
Right? Not only that, but then his mom asked him, could you make some wine for these folks? They're celebrating, correct? Mm-hmm. Now he could tell his mom, forget it, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to encourage them to drink. Mm-hmm. But then, is it his party?
No.
See, and that's where, to me, the dividing line is. For example, if someone, we don't drink alcohol, we don't smoke, right? We don't do any of that. If someone comes to our house and they want to smoke, what would you do?
I would ask them not to, because it's our house and I don't want that in or around my house.
Right?
Right.
It's your place. Mm-hmm. You've been blessed with it, so it's your business to do what you choose to do, because it has to do with your environment.
Right.
Now, you go to somebody else's house and they choose to smoke. You're at their house now. What are you going to do?
I will step out. I will leave if I don't want to be around it.
You will leave. Really?
Right, like I'll go outside or
Oh, okay.
because we've been to
No, you
people's
said
homes
leave.
where they're
I thought you were going to
smoking.
leave the house.
Oh no, just leave wherever the smoking is taking
Right.
place.
But would you ask them to not smoke?
No,
Why?
because that's what they want to do. It's not. I mean,
It's not even that. It's their place,
right? It's their home.
right?
Yes,
It's not about what they want to do, because if that's the case, if that's your argument, you just invalidated that argument, because you said if they were at your place, you would tell them not to smoke. You'd ask them not to,
Right,
but they wanted to.
right. But it was my house.
Exactly. See?
Right.
That's the difference.
Okay.
When you're in their environment, they call the shots. What did they say? When you're in Rome, do as the
Do
Romans.
as the Romans do.
Right?
Mhm.
So when you're in Rome, meaning when you're in their place, if they want to smoke, okay, you're in their place. You choose what you're going to do. You want them to step out, let them do their thing. But you don't ask them not to smoke in their own house. It's their house.
Right.
Jesus is at a wedding. They get invited to a wedding. It's not his wedding. They're not at their house. They're at somebody else's house. And his mom asked him, these guys, they drank out all the wine. And we know by that time, who knows, maybe they're all drunk. I don't know, right? But his mom asked him, could you just make some more wine? And he could say, I'm not doing that because they're already drunk.
Right.
Or it's going to lower their frequency. It's not good for them. But it's their place. They're choosing to drink. They're celebrating. And he also wants to be respectful to his mom's wishes. So he did it. Now, somebody might ask, well, what if it were something else? Well, if we're talking about robbing a bank, I don't think Jesus would do that, right? But you're talking about something that at that time in society, it was accepted that you have alcohol at a wedding. And hopefully they were smart about how much they were drinking. But, does that answer your question though?
Yeah, it does. Now, what about the Last Supper when he was breaking bread and drinking wine and sharing a glass of wine with all of his disciples?
Right. As far as I know, whenever you consume anything that lowers your frequency, whether it's alcohol, something that has nicotine, drugs, it will affect you. It will lower your frequency. Now, of course, the higher your frequency, you don't feel it as much, right? It doesn't affect you as much.
Right.
Because the frequency is high. Well, we all know that Jesus' frequency is extremely high. About his drinking buddies, as you call them, theirs was probably high as well, but of course it will still lower the frequency, just not as much as other people.
Okay.
So now why did they drink the wine? Probably because at that time, that's how they showed, it was what? Part of the custom, the tradition? You're having a Last Supper, and very important thing, wine was always present at important events. You said something, you said a glass of wine. If it's one glass of wine, then maybe that wasn't too much for them. More than likely Jesus would have looked at that and said, okay, you guys are not going to get drunk here. We're using this as a symbol. It's like going to the Catholic Church and they give you a little bit of wine. Nobody comes from there drunk, not that I know of, right?
No.
It's just a little bit of wine.
Right.
It's probably something like that. And that's just me talking. I don't drink no wine at church, so I couldn't tell you. Is it even real wine at church?
It is. It's real wine.
Oh, I've never tasted it. So
Yeah,
I
the
don't know.
Catholics use real wine.
Wow, I thought it was like grape juice or something.
No.
Okay. So, again, very valid question, but I feel that it was probably just a little bit as a representation of the traditional event of spending time with loved ones, people that are important to you, right? And showing your appreciation to them of their presence. And that's what the wine symbolized. But I don't think that he had a lot of it for his disciples at the Last Supper.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense to you.
That makes sense to me. I just, had those questions come up after we had made the last video. So I said, well, may as well talk about it, because if I had those questions, I think someone else may have had them too.
Right.
Because
Most definitely.
if it's something that Jesus said, do in memory of me, and people are still using alcohol and drinking it, you know.
Ooh, you're taking it even farther. Do it in memory of me, like drink alcohol. You didn't even focus on the part about eat some bread.
Well, the Catholic Church, you know, it goes through transubstantiation. It's changed. The substance is changed.
That sucker doesn't look changed to me.
It doesn't taste changed. But there you go.
It
That's
symbolizes
the
that, right?
It's the symbolism behind it.
The question is, why would the wine be symbol for blood, right? Why couldn't it just be grape juice? Well, we don't know. That's just the way it was written in the Bible. So we could waste time discussing that. We don't know the reason behind that one.
Exactly.
But again, even to this day, wine is traditionally present where there's a big event, and it probably came from way back then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's about how much you partake. You know, even now, you know, the Zen Masters teach us that we should never lose sense of our faculties. Meaning, no matter what we're doing, we should always be aware of who we are, what we're doing. I think you don't get drunk, you don't get high.
High, yes.
High, and whatever the way you lose your sense of orientation or who you are and what you're doing, you should never put yourself in that situation. So if you know that drinking a little bit of wine will do that, then don't drink any wine. Like myself, I know if I just smell wine, I feel weird already. So I just stay away from that, period, right?
Yes.
Other people, they could drink a couple of glasses and they're still fine. So, like Jesus, drink half a glass or something, and if you're fine, you're fine. It still lowers your frequency, but maybe not as much.
Right? Maybe you're good to go with a higher frequency and it won't affect you as much.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Right. Just be careful with it. If
Exactly.
you want to keep your frequency high and stay away from attachments and possessions. So.
Okay. I think that answers the questions. Thank you so much.
This lovely face has been a troublemaker with her question. That's all I have to say about that.